Greetings and welcome to Kyber Academy. I'm your host Jordan, and we're here to provide you with quality information and guides to Star Wars Battlefront 2's various hero modes. Today, we'll be discussing Force abilities, how they work, and how to make the most out of these incredible powers. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to make sure you see every new video we release. And be sure to leave a comment letting us know what you'd like to see covered in future videos. With that being said, let's get started. Starting off, we have pushes and pulls. Pushes include Luke's push, Yoda's unleash, Obi-Wan's all-out push, Darth Maul's chokehold, as well as AoE throws like Luke's repulse and Anakin's heroic might. These powers affect either a cone in front of you or a radius emanating from your character, and they cause any opponent caught in that area to be sent flying. A push's most commonly used purpose is to create space between you and your opponents. Pushes can also be used to break up enemies who are clustered together, scattering them and breaking their defensive line. Another great use of these abilities is to target foes attacking an ally, giving them some relief and time to recover. Offensively speaking, pushes do deal a small amount of damage, and can be used to knock opponents off a ledge for an easy kill. This is ever present in maps such as Kashyyyk or Kamino. Pull is a power shared exclusively between Anakin Skywalker and Kylo Ren. As its name suggests, Pull rips opponents across the battlefield towards you, dispensing them prone to the ground at your feet. Like pushes, Pull affects a cone in front of you, and deals a small amount of damage. Contrary to push, Pull is used to close space, and is used far more offensively. Any opponent affected by Pull will land prone nearby, and will be completely defenseless for a brief period. It is advised to use this time to follow up with a high damaging attack or another power. Pull can also be used to yank opponents off ledges behind you. This can be risky, as many enemies in the game have abilities that can knock you off just as easily, so do this at your own risk. That about covers our first category of force abilities, so let's move on to holds and stuns. Holds and stuns completely immobilize your opponents, leaving them extremely vulnerable to further attacks. Although you will find stuns more with blaster heroes, you will still see them on some Force users. These abilities include Darth Vader's choke, Emperor Palpatine's electrocute, and Kylo Ren's freeze. Once affected by such a power, an opponent is left defenseless for a short time or until hit by another attack. Blaster fire and certain other abilities such as Emperor Palpatine's Force Lightning do not break the stun, but lightsaber attacks and other offensive force powers will. You want to make the most out of this ability, using it primarily to set up a devastating follow-up, such as a critical strike to the back, a few shots to the head, or a throw to send them flying off an edge. Stuns can also be used to buy yourself a few seconds to recover health and stamina, before continuing or fleeing a fight. Advancing attacks are abilities that move your character forward, dealing damage either along the way or once they've reached their target. Such attacks include, but are not limited to, Kylo Ren's Frenzy, Darth Maul's spin attack, Obi-Wan's defensive rush, and pretty much every one of General Grievous's abilities. Advancing attacks are a great way to engage an enemy, immediately putting your opponent on the defensive, allowing you to set the pace for the fight. Most are great for advancing on a ranged opponent, but leave you vulnerable to certain abilities such as throws or explosions, so use caution. It is also important to remember that most of these abilities can be blocked like any normal attack. Some advancing attacks, such as Kylo Ren's Frenzy or General Grievous's Thrust Surge, lock onto an opponent, making it difficult for them to dodge, as well as dealing massive damage with the right star card setup. Other abilities, such as Obi-Wan's Defensive Rush, Darth Maul's Spin Attack, and Rey's Dash Strike carry you forward without locking on, generally dealing damage along their path. These are very useful tools for damaging multiple enemies at once, keeping pressure on a fleeing opponent or putting yourself in a better position. One last thing that's important to mention is that some of these advancing attacks are capable of dealing damage through blocks, making dodging said attacks the only way to defend against them. These abilities are General Grievous's Claw Rush, Anakin's Passionate Strike, Yoda's Dash Attack, and the final hit of Kylo Ren's Frenzy. These attacks are best used on a wounded opponent who is turtling, allowing you to deal damage to them, preventing their HP from regenerating or outright killing them if their HP is low enough. This should be more than enough to keep pressure on your enemy, while allowing your own HP and stamina to recover. Now it's time to take a look at buffs and debuffs. Buff abilities have beneficial effects for you or your team, proving that not all powers need to be flashy or even deal damage to be useful. These include Yoda's Presence, Rey's Insight, Darth Vader's Focused Rage, and Count Dooku's Duelist. These provide each character with a temporary benefit such as damage reduction, temporary hit points, increased damage, or reduced stamina consumption. These buffs generally last a few seconds before going on cooldown. These are best used as a fight is starting, allowing you to have an edge on your opponent right from the beginning. This also means that if a fight gets drawn out, you can use it more than once. Some buffs have bonus effects. Yoda's Presence, for example, can be used while stunned or held, allowing him to break free from the effect, as well as giving him and surrounding allies bonus health to survive the assault. Moving on, we have debuffs. These abilities impose a debilitation on your opponents, putting them at a disadvantage. These include Count Dooku's Exposed Weakness, Emperor Palpatine's Dark Aura, as well as both Rey and Obi-Wan's Mind Tricks. These abilities cannot be blocked, and will often put your opponent in a very defensive state. They are best used carefully mid-fight, keeping pressure on an opponent, or making them think twice about pressing an attack. Like buffs, they only last for a few seconds, but that small time frame might be all the time you need to end a fight. Before we finish up, I'd like to discuss one last type of force power, Lightsaber Throw. Both Darth Vader and Darth Maul have this ability, though Maul's is called Furious Throw. As its name would suggest, this ability causes your character to hurl their lightsaber forward. Once the lightsaber reaches its maximum distance or hits an obstruction, it will return to your hands. During this time, you cannot block or swing, but you can still move around, jump, and dodge. The lightsaber deals damage to any enemy it passes through along the way. While the ability can be blocked, it will not be interrupted, continuing its movement as normal, possibly hitting the target on its way back if they're not quick enough to avoid it. This means that with proper spacing, the ability can hit an opponent twice, making it a great way to deal a fair amount of damage. A solid tactic is to match your target's dodging to line up a hit as the lightsaber returns to your hand. Note that Darth Maul's version deals just over half as much damage as Darth Vader's, who absolutely excels with this ability. When combined with the proper star card setup and the choke ability, Vader's lightsaber throw becomes outright terrifying, capable of dealing over 500 damage. We'll be covering this and many other ability combos in future videos. Now that we've covered each type of force power, test them out for yourself and let us know in the comments which is your favorite. In the next episode, we plan on covering advanced lightsaber mechanics, where we'll take an in-depth look at how to parry attacks, proper footwork, and other tips to take your lightsaber skills to the next level. This has been Jordan from Kyber Academy, and may the Force be with you.
New threat acquired. Destroy the scoundrel.
Han Solo is no longer in the game.